Hi everyone. I've gone on a bit earlier than expected. I was meant to go live in about 14 minutes time, but because the matches are winding up, firstly the India Sri Lanka match is actually finished. It's actually been completed in 3 days, and Sri Lanka batted abysmally on that third day, and basically we're all out twice. And it's quite unfortunate. Actually, what is the score there? So India got, as you know, 8 for 574 declared, with Jadeja 175. Then Sri Lanka went in the bat all out for 174, and then followed it on straight away and were all out for 178. So 174, 178, all out. So they lost. India won by an innings and 222 runs. It's very much a Richie Beno type finish there. India won by an innings and 222 runs, which is hilarious as it might sound, but yeah, it certainly isn't hilarious for Sri Lanka, I can assure you. That was a pretty ordinary effort, and more and more things are coming out regarding the whole Warren saga. His body's been moved from Koh Samui, the island there, onto the mainland, and autopsy will be performed. And then at some stage, we'll head back to Australia, back to Melbourne. Then with the state funeral, it'll be a rather big deal, as you can imagine. Yeah, it's very, very sad, that whole scenario. So I just wanted to talk to you a bit about that. Let's just check on the. Yeah, so there is something I need to edit. I need to edit that line which I just mentioned about. So England, sorry, not England. India won by an innings and 222 runs. India win by an innings and 222 runs. That's a slaughter if there's ever one. Fitting for, obviously, the 100th Test match for Virat Kohli. He didn't get to bat again. He batted it once. He got 45 and then couldn't bat a second innings, so they didn't need him. So India win by an innings and 222 runs against Sri Lanka. Some awful results there for that for Sri Lanka. And obviously in the game that looks as though it hasn't exactly been. It hasn't been fully. They've called stumps. They've called stumps now. Australia are 2 for 271. So I didn't say they get 280. I wasn't wrong. I was 9 runs off. Mind you, they've got 8 wickets still in the tank after 73 overs. So Australia were 2 for 271. I predicted 280, but I think they're going to declare somehow. With Usman Khawaja very frustratingly getting caught off an unusual sweep shot off the glove for 97, 3 off his century. And then Dave Warner, prior to that, was bowled Sajid Khan for 68. Again, trying to cut a ball which was too low on the stumps, unusual shot. But in came Labuschagne, of course, and Steve Smith. And Labuschagne's there on 69, not out, looking quite solid. And Steve Smith not out 24. And their partnership, I think, was around about the 68 mark. So they're 2 for 271. After being none for 156, they lost the first week at 156. That was Warner on the 40th over. And then again, Usman Khawaja 13 overs later, out for 97. Well, he looked rock solid, not making a mistake. He'd get dropped a couple of times, mind you. But yes, so Sajid Khan, the spinner, was 1 for 94. Naseem Shah, who I thought bowled very well, was 9 for 54. Shane Shah Freddy was not bad as well, 9 for 48. Noiman Ali was actually first hit around by Warner and Khawaja, but then came back and took the wicket of Khawaja, as a matter of fact, and he got 1 for 49. Iftikhar Ahmed bowled 3 overs and was tonked for 20, but still. So that means that Australia are still trailing by 205 runs, only having lost 2 wickets. And you would think that they can probably go close to knocking that off. A 2 for 271 with Labuschagne on 69 and, as I said, Steve Smith on 24. IPL schedule also released now. Yes, it has been. I've seen that it has been released. The IPL schedule has been released. There's some series and scenes at IPL 2020. Let's look at that. The women's game, obviously, India gave Pakistan a bit of a touch-up. Stefan Jones returned to Rogers as a high performance fast bowling coach. Okay. I'm just trying to see if there's anything on that. The schedule itself. It hasn't. Indian Premier League home. Fixtures and results. So we've got the fixtures and results on it. It hasn't been fully updated yet, although I know it has been done. Let's see if I can see. I did see something on one of the other websites to have a look what that score was. Yes. Schedule. There was some news there. Warren's room had bloodstain. We know all about that. So with the IPL, CSK and KKR to kick off the IPL 2022 at Wankhede Stadium, newcomers Gujarat Titans and Lucknow Super Giants will face off on March 28th. Defending champion CSK and last year's finalists KKR will kick off the Indian Premier League on March 26th at the Wankhede Stadium. So there you go. There has been a bit of an update there. So yeah, a bit there going on. We can update on that as well. So yeah, thanks for that, guys. Thanks for letting me know that is a big deal. So let's look. CSK. It was nice to see. I think the world. I know that PSL has also been a very successful tournament in Pakistan, and the Caribbean Premier League, and even the Big BL and the like. There's been several pretty damn good competitions around the world, but the IPL's the pinnacle. Let's be honest. It started it all off. Has been longest serving, most successful, and certainly the richest as well. We mustn't forget. So, yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about that tournament. IPL should not be downplayed. It's an incredible tournament. It's saying it's really fully uploaded. Okay, the schedule is released. So we'll go through a bit more. Players have been flagged continuously, and this is unfortunate. No gap for players. Yeah, they really are stressed with the amount of time they have to play. There's no doubt about that. T20 World Cup players need rest, and I think money boards. It's true. It's very, 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 very frustrating to see that going on. I don't like seeing it either. So I totally agree. But the nature of sport, nature of money, I'm afraid that's what life's bringing us now. That far too much. The days of Jeff Thompson going off and fishing or playing a bit of AFL as in Australian rules football in his break is kind of not there, is it? Yeah. So yeah, there's certainly a lot to be said about that. Let's have a look here. So yeah, it's going to be a rather. Oh well, there you go. Sri Lanka and India put up their. Well, India can put up their boots now and have a rest. Sri Lanka fell apart. Didn't get more than 174, 178. When India could get 570, it's awful. What's the score today? Well, anyway, so I went through that already, but I'll go through it again if you like. Let's have a look. Pakistan at this stage they were 4 for 476, and Australia were then 2 for 271 when bad light stopped play. Sid Vishy, hello Siddharth.
Hey Norman, how are you? I'm good.
I'm very well. So India absolutely walloped Sri Lanka, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean it was never going to be in doubt. I mean, you look at Sri Lanka's bowling and the batting, it never stood a chance. And especially in a country, even when the best, let me tell you, when Mahela, Sangha, Jayasuriya, Arvinda, Ranatunga, even when they were there, they didn't win a test in India. You're expecting this bunch.
Money. Look, I've never rated him as a batsman. I think he's an ordinary player. Keeps getting thrown back into the team. I mean, Jamuth Karunaratne is a very good player. Angelo Matthews has been a good player, but they both, they're not at their best anymore. Nirosh Dickwella, I'm so frustrated. He's got 51 not out. He looked better in the second innings. First innings, he looked like a deer in front of headlights. He was horrible, playing sweep shots all the time. But he looked better in the second innings. He, honestly, Vish, he should be opening the batting. Not one day T20 for Test cricket. That's where he's batted all his life. Do you know that? When he played for college, In one season, he scored 14 centuries. And it wasn't just schoolboys cricket, it was elite cricket. He was destined to be another Sangakkara. And for some reason, even though he's been, he's played, I think, 46 tests now, and he's got a fair few runs, and actually he's keeping records right up there now. He hasn't been allowed to show his true batting potential. He bats too low. Bats too low.
But again, it's now the spotlight is now on Sri Lanka's domestic cricket. Sure, you can score triple centuries for fun in the domestic circuit in Sri Lanka, big scores, but in the international level, does it translate into that? No, not among this current bunch anymore. Look at Mendes. Classic case is Kusal Mendes. Dhananjay De Silva, who was one of the stars in the 2017 tour, he's a shadow of himself now. The only person whom I like in that whole group who shows a bit of, I may say, competency is Patum Nissanka.
He looks good.
Yeah, he was very good in that series against Australia. Batted confidently, batted with a bit of aggression, but then he needs support.
Yeah. I'm telling you now, Narendra got up the order. You watch what he can do in Test cricket, not one day in T20. Okay, just quickly, Jadeja. Let's go back to him. That 175 was amazing, and especially when none of the other team members could do it, even though Rishabh Pant was very close, and Kohli got 45. The reality is that Anumi Vihari looked pretty good too, I must say. India were just too sold. They were playing against a bunch of school kids, as far as I was concerned, and it was not nearly the same standard, and hence the scoreline reflected that. They won by an innings and 222 runs, as Richie Beno would say, 2-2-2.
2-2-2, yes.
Hang on a minute. You and I haven't discussed Shane Warne's passing and Rod Marshall's passing. I'm honestly upset. I'm visibly upset. I was crying for a while because I can't comprehend how he could. He looks like he's genuinely died from a heart attack. There's no drugs involved. There's nothing going on. But apparently he was dieting crazily, taking these black and green drinks, and he was doing some really weird stuff to his body to lose weight. And I think he made help with that. He's led a pretty full life with cigarettes and chips and what have you. But still, it's hard to believe, isn't it? Isn't it hard to believe?
Numb, absolutely numb with shock. I mean, when I first got the news that a breaking Shane Warne has died of a suspected heart attack, my first reaction, the only other time when I gave such a reaction was when Phil Hughes died. I said, I just wrote 6 words. What? That's it. Because just a couple of hours back, at about 4:30, I was watching Warne's 4-wicket haul in Adelaide. That 2006 brilliance that he did. And later on, I get the message 2.5 hours later, he's no more. I just couldn't comprehend. Okay, Rod Marsh, yes, a legend, but unfortunately, I never got to see a lot of Rod Marsh. I've read his legendary exploits, Caught Marsh, Bowl Lily. I've read that.
Trust me, Rod Marsh was what Dave Warner and all those people are now tenfold. He was amazing.
Yes, it was sad that Rod Marsh passed away, but Shane Monster, my goodness. I mean,
come
on, Norman, who would have not wanted to copy Warne's action? It was poetry. It was absolute poetry. That same comparison, I will again like to say, if Warne versus Murli, I have 2 sides of the story in this. Murli forever will carry that burden of having that kind of warped action because he had a deformity. But he always was viewed as a chucker, unfortunately. Murli got 187 out of his 800 wickets against Zimbabwe and Bangladesh, who were weaker still at that time. Warne just got 17 wickets. And he didn't play much against Zimbabwe and Bangladesh. Plus, he never was labeled a chucker or anything of that kind. Beautiful action. He got wickets in Australia, England, South Africa. Yep. So, the debate for me is pretty... Okay, Murli dominates the numbers, definitely. Warne, for that occasion, I mean, the big game player. Let's look at a big game player, Shane Warne. There can be no greater example of a guy performing to his absolute limit in a big game. 1999 World Cup semi-final, South Africa, Edgbaston. You know the backstory. I know the backstory. What happened? The Australian team had to win every game. They were inches of not qualifying for the semi-finals when Gibbs dropped that catch in the Super 6 stage. Vaughan had his issues with Steve Waugh because of what happened in the West Indies prior. He had dropped him. Vaughan urged him, I want to play, but Waugh said no. Poor form. But in that particular moment, Vaughan needed Shane Warne, and boy, did he deliver a masterclass. It
Now,
remains more than his 8 for 71.
We're going to be joined by Mohsin Sheikh.
Yeah.
Siddharth Vishwanathan, meet Mohsin Sheikh.
Hey, Mohsin.
Hi, Sid. How are you?
I'm good. So, I mean, more than his 8 wickets, more than his 7 wickets. I think that 4 for 29 against South Africa, Edgbaston, that 4-wicket haul in Adelaide just showed the genius of that guy. Rising to the big occasion, using the 4 mantras of Vaughan's bowling, which I've always observed. Drop, drift, accuracy, rip. If Vaughan was not successful, McGrath, Lee, Gillespie would not have been successful. Vice versa. Also, because McGrath, Gillespie, Lee built that pressure, Vaughan capitalized. That's what made that Aussie bowling so brilliant.
I mean, most and I have been talking about Shane Warne yesterday. I'm watching. I just can't get enough of Shane Warne at the moment. I'm watching everything that moves, going through everything that he did, and it's hard. It's like, oh my God, we're not going to be able to talk to him again. He surprisingly did a lot of reports on Fox of late about his own life, which was intriguing. We're hearing more and more about the situation in Thailand, that he was having heart problems leading into the day. He coughed up a bit of blood. He had asthma problems. Apparently, his personal secretary was aware of things which were going on. His manager wasn't. And there were things which, there was a bit going on leading up to this, and he was dieting quite heavily, which can't help anyone. But nothing drug-related, nothing alcohol-related. He was watching TV, watching the cricket. In fact, wrote that tweet about Rod Marsh and how sad he was, and then an hour or so later he passed. It's most outstanding theatre of a person, and now he's on a boat, a slow boat, I'll call it, from the island of near Koh Samui to the mainland of Thailand near Bangkok. Autopsy occurring, then probably the next few days will end up in Australia, to Melbourne, and I'm actually going to go to Melbourne and be at the funeral. I think it's too significant a moment not to miss.
State funeral, right, Norman? State funeral.
Right?
He's been given a state funeral.
I'm in Sydney. Mohsin's actually in Queensland.
No,
I think they're giving Vaughan a state funeral, right, Norman?
In Victoria, in Melbourne, yes.
Yeah.
So it'll be an open-ended day. It'll be worth going to see. It'll be an amazing. Not that funerals are meant to be an event, but they are in this circumstance. I've been very fortunate to go to a few memorials and services of people such as Alan Davidson, of course, Arthur Morris. They're significant people in the world of cricket. They were all great events. Just because to see the people that attend, it's quite incredible. Very nice indeed. All right, let's go on today. We're talking a fair bit about Sri Lanka was smashed, literally smashed.
Well,
and I'd say they would be all out today, and it happened. Innings in 222. And I did jokingly predict that Australia would only get 280 in the match against Pakistan, but I was kind of right. They got 271, but they've only lost 2 wickets.
Yeah, no. Look,
your prediction is way off than that fan who predicted Kohli. Way off.
They might get 8 for 9 tomorrow morning. You never know.
No, it's very
not on this wicket, not on this Rawalpindi shirt front. No way.
Yeah, it's highly unlikely a result there.
Yeah, Australia might escape with a draw in Rawalpindi, but Karachi and Lahore are going to be much more intimidating because Pakistan haven't got their reverse swing going yet, and Naseem has been pretty off color, surprisingly.
Yeah,
Shaheen
he's come back from a long layoff injury as well. He hasn't played much. in PSL either, but it looked very placid. Apart from a few short spells of Shaheen, they did not look like getting out. And we spoke yesterday. The pitch is very placid, very flat.
No, and
It's
Pakistan never helped themselves, Mohsin. Pakistan never helped themselves because if you have to take 10 wickets, they have to create 20 chances. Fawad put down Warner today, which didn't help.
Yeah, Uzi got dropped in.
Well, they had dropped catches, didn't they?
That's right. Uzi got dropped earlier on. He was 20
And
22.
Shaheen was building up a superb opening spell. I mean, he troubled Warner tremendously.
Yeah, and that's 100% agree with you. Say they had to create double the chances, especially in Test cricket. The fielding let them down. If they had taken those early chances earlier on, who knows? With Manas and Smith batting earlier on, would have been a lot different story. But now it's I'm writing it off with weather hanging around. They're not going to get full day of play tomorrow either. That's what the prediction is. So it's I think it's a write-off.
Yeah, but Norman, I that's why
I'm going to have a go at Paul Newman here. What did he say? Norman said, he said your prediction was way off, Norman. Well, it wasn't. I did say 280. They've scored 271. I don't have to talk about how many wickets fell.
There's a very interesting anecdote that I want to pick up from Mohsin's case. You remember, if you look at Wasim Akram, Waqar Yunus, and Shoaib Akhtar's dismissal summary, almost over 60-70% of them are bowled or LBW. Why? They just don't trust the keepers or the fielders to take the catches.
Well, Wasim said in one of his interviews, if he said all the catches that he created were taken, he would have had 800 Test wickets.
Absolutely. I mean, unfortunately, Akhtar and Saklain and Danish Kaneria's career coincided with Kamran Akmal behind the wicket. Now, Kamran Akmal dropped catches just for fun.
He did. He dropped Test matches.
No one will forget 2011. 2011 World Cup and 2010 Sydney. Oh boy.
Yeah, Sydney was the last thing, and no one you were there as well. Sydney Test match. I was with the Aussie women team at the time, and we were staying in the same place. And I saw the guys the night before, and they should have wrapped up the next day, but
really bad viewing. That's why I feel bad for Pakistan's bowlers because they are handicapped with so many poor fielders. The only good fielder in that whole team, and he's not playing this test, I guess, is Shadab Khan. Shadab Khan is a fantastic fielder.
He is. Yeah.
But the rest of the people,
pretty good too. He's a pretty good fielder. Don't worry. He's
someone
was meant to play.
Luckily now, Pakistan have a pretty solid keeper in Rizwan. At least he catches well.
Yes. Yeah. And he's good brains as well. Bats well.
He's finally, after probably you can say Wasim Bari, somebody very tactically sound, and solid.
I think we've got a good long-term keeper.
Now, okay, we're at the end of the day 3. If Australia bats like they did today, even though they've got a few wickets down, they're probably going to go very close to the 400 odd tomorrow, and they're in the 4th day. It looks like inevitably a draw. I wonder how Australia will play this. Will they knock off the Pakistan score and then go way beyond that if they're batting well? You know, it's going to be interesting. It looks like it's heading for a draw. Let's be honest. It's very unlikely there'll be a result. But look, they're 200 runs still behind. Anything can happen. They could lose a few wickets. I'm annoyed. I get really annoyed when Slabashane bat, and the way the lets balls go annoys the bejeebers out of me. If I were coaching Australia, I'd be going to him, stop that ridiculous stupidity about the way he lets balls go. Probably the same for Smith. It annoys me. It's not good. It really annoys me.
Master and the pupil are together. What do you expect?
Exactly.
Master and the pupil are together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
well, DaCosta, DaCosta, don't you know, is in Shaky. He's a coach. Neil DaCosta in Sydney.
Yeah.
He's had something to do with Labuschagne as well. And I've seen Neil DaCosta. I think there's a bit of flamboyance about the letting it go. I'm so annoyed. Just let the ball go. It annoys. Maybe they're doing it to annoy the opposition because it annoys the hell out of me. It really does. You almost don't want to see.
There was more than Manas's leaving. There was one hilarious sign today in Pakistan. There was how do we pronounce your last name?
I love that.
That was a good. That was a
No, but
good
then
one.
that girl also made a slight mistake. If you notice, she had initially put it as Marcus, but it is actually Manus.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And what are these Australians calling La Bus?
Lost bus
What?
change.
What?
Lost bus.
Nathan Lyon calls him lost bus change.
Lost bus change. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
But
funny.
it's actually Labouchaine, like champagne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Labush.
Labushkakni is really the
Oh,
Labushak.
I can't take the South African pronunciation.
Lost
Yeah.
bus change. I love that. That's funny. It's so
Yeah.
funny. But you know what?
John,
He's a bit of he's a bit of a goose.
Well,
He's a very annoying person. A lot of people are very annoyed by him. So that can't be a good thing. I'm sorry, except for Steve Smith, who is his puppy dog. Oh God, I'm not. I hate to be saying this, but this is what we see. And Mosen would know. Mosen. Tell Vish about your history. He's been involved with everything from Queensland cricket to all the Big Bash leagues, and was involved with the very first IPL for the first 2 years with Rajasthan Royals with Warren.
yes, that's right.
Pakistan under-19 coach.
Teams coach, 2 years as well. So yeah, few years around the cricket. So very fortunate. But yeah, I think when Mana started with Queensland cricket, he was coming through the system when I was with Queensland cricket at the time as well. So he was coming through. Him and Matt Ranshaw, those are couple of young cricketers. Chris Lynn, Joe Burns as well. So yeah, so I've known Mana since he was like coming through the under-19 ranks, and he's been annoying since then. So you can't change him. It's just like that.
Now look at Tabasha Mahan. He still reckons that Australia can win on the basis of them scoring 100 runs in front and then Pakistan collapsing. Well, I'd like to think that could happen, but it won't happen. Pakistan are
If the pitch had some little bit of life or even deteriorated a little bit, then you could say that. But the funny thing was, if you look at the texture of the pitch didn't even break out. There was no foot marks, like really notable foot marks. That's what I was hoping that day 3 would bring, some foot marks or some crumble into the pitch where spinners can start playing a big role in it. But nothing happened. And pitch looked really hard underneath still, and there's nothing that has indicated that's going to go crumble or turn sideways for the next 2 days. So it's hard to say that this is going to happen. I mean, we can all see that Pakistan have collapsed in past in the ever history of collapsing, but I don't see it happening in Pindi Test.
No.
Pretty different.
There's a lot of discussion about the pitch being bad, so-called bad. Now look, even though it's kind of a road and it's batting paradise, that's not a bad pitch. A bad pitch, which is where it bounces badly and hurts the players, that's a bad pitch. This is a good pitch. It tests the bowler's ability to handle the conditions and ink out wickets. And that's not happening, but only 6 wickets have fallen in 3 days. Do you realise that? 6 wickets have fallen in 3 days. I'm trying to go back into my history. I don't remember too many matches where only 6 wickets fell in 3 days from either side. That's incredible.
India, Sri Lanka, 1997 on that horrible pitch in Colombo.
That 982. Oh,
that's God. Right. They kept batting.
Do you know that I think I told you, I replicated their scoreboard for our touring cricket team when they go to Sri Lanka. So the blokes turn up at the ground, they look up on the scoreboard, and there's their names and runs against their name, which are replicated in 982. And I put mates of mine in there who were one bowler, a guy called Pasaris. He had none for 400 off 20 or 10 overs or something. It was hilarious. And I got I think it was Jai Surya's 300 out of us. Great board. I'll send you a copy of that. It's hilarious. It's quite a spectacle. They have a scoreboard.
Luckily, there were no ball commentary at that time. Oof.
Although that game didn't happen in Sri Lanka, did it?
Colombo, 1997.
It did, of course. At
Premadasa at the Katarama Stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, terrible. That was a terrible wicket.
That's true.
Yeah, that's too much.
The thing
traditionally, if you have to look at it, Mohsin, Rawalpindi's not had a good comeback after 10 years in isolation.
No,
I mean,
last time they actually left a little bit of grass on it when they played South Africa, so it seemed a little bit. It didn't like if you see the texture of the pitch from South Africa, day one, day two, they had a little bit of live grass on it. But what they did in this game, they actually had no live grass. It was all brown in texture. So whether they've had enough time to prepare it, or whether they were just happy to just let all the grass shaved off, I'm not sure. But I think they should have left that grass on it to ball, to have a little bit of seam around, to test the batters. But if people are saying bad, they're referring to that 700 and only 6 wickets have fallen. I think that's probably what they're referring to, because none of the quicks have got anything going towards them. For even off the pitch, the pace looked quite slow, like the bouncers coming off very slow as well. And spinners are trying to ball fast into the pitch, and it's just making no difference as well. So I think that's probably, I can understand a lot of critics talking about producing pitches which is not going to give you any results. So it should have been one way or the other, whether they should have left the grass on it, or whether they should have left less moisture in the pitch so it could deteriorate a little bit and help spinners. So either way, they should have gone either one direction.
Isn't it interesting how this is called the Benno Kadir Trophy, right? And both of them are leg spinners representing Australia and Pakistan. Yet Shane Warne, probably the best leg spinner ever, doesn't deserve a mention here, but it's intriguing timing. The two leg spinners are named after a trophy between two countries. It's intriguing, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think Warne already has a trophy named after him. The Warne Muralidharan Trophy, Australia-Sri Lanka. I think you can't have two. I don't think you can.
Yeah, he does. He does. I've seen that trophy. They've got two spin hands. The spin hands.
Yeah.
But no, it's nice. And Abdul Kadir, I'm so glad that he got the Guns for Pakistan. They could have went for a whole host of other people, but they picked him, which was good. It's a very nice thing indeed. So Sri Lanka, India gone. The match is gone. I'm kind of glad, because that game was really frustrating about that match. It just didn't live up to the hype, even though Virat did get a few runs. His 100th Test match was a bit of a fizzer. Good for Rohit Sharma as captain. Magnificent for Jadeja, but Sri Lanka, oh God.
Look, I will just tell you one thing, Norman. I mean, yes, a win is a win. Let us acknowledge the win. But India don't have much challenges now until the WTC final.
That's true.
Apart from the 4 tests which they'll play against Australia in India, which might be a challenge. Because considering Australia's poor record in the past decade in the subcontinent.
Yeah.
Apart from that, there is nothing for India. The England Test series, that one test which they win, might prove to be inconsequential in the long run. They'll hammer Sri Lanka in the next test. They are going to play Bangladesh. So the challenge for them is just 4 tests now, and that is in October. Now, October, November, in that period.
That's before the World Cup.
I think it is after the World Cup.
Is it
after the World T20?
But except for the World Cup, the centrepiece this year is the IPL. Let's be honest.
The schedule's out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And KKR are playing CSK in the opener, and Gujarat are playing Lucknow in a match a couple of days later.
Yeah, but they have done at least one good thing, though. They have kept it to only 1 or 2 venues, luckily.
Yeah.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
Better sense prevailed. Otherwise, we would have had a repeat of 2021. But technically, no. The cases are at an all-time low here.
Is it control situation in India now?
Every day we are having 5,000 cases overall. Kind of control, because the vaccination rate was pretty high.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think once the vaccination rate's high up, I think like Australia, in Brisbane we've gone against all restrictions. So all restrictions are finished from Friday. So there's no more restrictions. No.
I think around the world now there are no more restrictions.
Yeah.
There are no more. I think even for New Zealand, the strictest one, they have lifted MIQ. I suppose they have.
Yeah. That's right.
Well, as far as the World Test Championship goes, they've got to get New Zealand playing more than 2 Test series, for one. They've got to have a more balanced game structure in there, and they've got to pick a venue where they're going to play that final. Now, it should be New Zealand, because New Zealand won. That's got to be, even if New Zealand don't make the final, it should be in New Zealand, in my opinion. They need to get these things sorted and more definitively, because it's a World Test Championship could be a big thing because players will play for that more and more if they revered it. And it's got to create some sort of. I do like
the argument for your liking, Norman. I would say playing in New Zealand in that time slot.
The timing is the big problem.
Timing is so bad for the Asian countries that the commercial success won't be as a commercial success. So you got to play somewhere. Time is
and this time they will want more fans in. So they will want to have a venue which have a capacity of 50,000-60,000. Now New Zealand doesn't have that much of capacity in any of the grounds.
Absolutely.
Auckland 40,000. That's it. But apart from that, it's not.
I think it's going to end up being between India or Australia. I think.
Ideally, for the best.
India.
Ideally, I would like to say hold the World Test Championship final in Melbourne.
MCG, Australia, India.
No, but you can't do that. It's got to follow it deserves to be with the winner of the World Test Championship. They deserve to have that at their home. For a lot, I think that's a fair.
No World Cup ever does that. I mean, because when the West Indies won,
IPL do it. IPL usually have the final in the venue of the team that won. They do.
The first match happens at the venue where they hosted the final.
Yeah. Not the finals.
Not the final.
Yeah.
That rule has long elapsed. But it was there till 2015. It was there because in 2014, Kolkata won the final. The final went to Eden Gardens yet again in 2015.
Yeah, but Eden Garden did deserve that. At that time, there was the old ground, big 100,000 people, amazing environment. So you can't have any other way.
Yeah, but even the 100,000 had huge problems for Eden. I mean, there used to be deaths, there used to be police lathi charge, there used to be black marketing. In a way, it is better it's regulated now.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Norman, you have your let's see if your wish comes true. But
sorry?
I said let's hope your wish comes true. The finals in New Zealand. But my prediction, jotted down. I like to see it. Australia play India at MCG. 85,000 crowd. It'd be awesome.
You need a theatre for the World Test Championship after the kind of damn squib, the weather and lack of fans in 2021.
Yeah.
You have to make it up by playing at a venue which is grand, which is historic, and where the conditions are not favored to one particular player or a team.
Agreed.
Australia, I always tell people, Australia, you can't blame batsmen for producing, or you can't blame the groundsmen for producing pitches that suit their bowlers. No, it's a flat deck. All pitches in Australia are flat with that little bit of extra bounce factor. But apart from that, it's nothing.
MCG, since they've gone drop in, it's a very neutral pitch now. So for last 5 years, it has been really favouring batting. So I think it'd be ideal. Theatre, 85,000. India playing Australia, how good would that be?
Yeah.
Fair point. Look, I don't know about you guys, but I was in a state of shock with both Marsh and obviously Warren, and going back to Dean Jones. I woke up during the night last night, into the morning, expecting someone to die. I had this horrible feeling that I'm waiting. Oh, Neil Harvey will pass away today, or someone will cut. I just felt this. It's really affected my. Not just me, and I'm just not unable to rest. It's such a big deal, honestly. Most spent all the time with Warren back at the first IPL and Raiders and Royals, and I've known him for 15 odd years personally as well, having been in the media box with him over the many years. I remember being with Jabashis and Kuntal and Boria, and we'd have a chat with Warren, and he was very. He was especially the best conversation to have with Shane Warne. You know where that was? In the lift or in the dunny, in the toilet. He would go, and I shouldn't talk about this, but I'm going to. He would go and do a wee in the urinal, and he'd have a long chat to everybody that walked in. And I felt like saying, would you just finish and get out of here? Because he was in the middle of weeing, and he was having conversation with everybody. It was hilarious. And we'd have situations like a lift. He'd get in the lift, and the lift would be buoyant. There'd be laughter. There'd be carry on. It was just, he and Adam Gilchrist were the two guys that really lifted it. Adam would talk to everybody and he'd ask questions. Shane would walk in, he'd always walk in last. The lift's about to close, in came running Shane Warne into the lifts at the SCG or at Lord's Press in the JP Morgan Centre, at the Igloo, which, of course, I infamously, as I think I've told you before, I'm not sure, I was stuck in that lift for an hour and a half with Michael Vaughan, Damien Martin, Dale Norman, who's one of the journalists, and a few other people, and we were not happy in the middle of a Lord's Test. And then I had to go on BBC radio about it a few days later and talk about the ordeal on the Vaughan Tuffer show. It was quite funny. Yeah, no, it was an amazing atmosphere to be around Shane Warne. And as what Malcolm Conn said this morning in the papers, they call him Australia's Pied Piper. Wherever he went, people followed. And no matter who they were, or whether it was Border or Ponting, or these people followed him. They would go to him, like Glenn Maxwell and Aaron Finch would often go over to his house and have a bit of game of pool or whatever in his dungeon basement there. And he was a person who would invite people over. Very welcoming.
Yeah, not true. That's very true.
Had a nightclub in the Crown Casino in Melbourne called, I think it was called 23, if I can remember correctly. And it was a haven. He was quite a partier in a good way. And I think who was it? Border said he used to say that Shane Warne's attitude to cricket was, it was like 9 to 5. He clocked off at 5 and became a party animal and forgot that he was a test cricketer. It's probably very true and fitting of his character. Anyway, sorry, I reminisce. These two he's reminisce about. All right, so India going to the second test, on the 12th, I think it is, down at Chinnaswamy Stadium in a day-nighter, pink ball test. Sri Lanka's going to be smashed. Oh, my God.
I don't see Sri Lanka coming back from what
they
they just don't have the depth or the willpower to just come back from there.
No. I just, at this point in time, Sri Lankan cricket needs a really good hard look. They've been struggling with white ball. Post Jayawardena era, it's really shame to see Sri Lanka at the bottom of all type of cricket, like not just test cricket, white ball cricket as well. They're struggling, which is shame, and I'd like to see them lift from there. They're better cricketing history team to be at the bottom. I think let's just hope they get their act together and pull something through.
Too many good people retired in one go. Too many good people, and that didn't give them the time to transition.
Yes, right. Very right.
Because when Murli went, luckily Herat stepped in, but after 2 years.
Right.
But when Dilshan, Sangha, Mahela, the famous trio all left in the space of a year. That's it. You haven't found their replacements yet. It's been 6 years.
But they left, you would argue, early. And they left because there were lots of issues with the cricket board. They were very disillusioned. They were not able to captain as they would like to, despite being very good leaders. They had too much control and they ended up getting away from it. Then there were a lot of yes men that came into the Sri Lankan side, maybe not the best players, who followed what the board told them to do. And I tell you what, that's really ruined Sri Lankan cricket. I think Mohan De Silva's one man there that I have a lot of faith in. The rest I don't. They are in a constant mode of flux. Corruption rules the place over many years.
Yep.
Players get disillusioned.
I interviewed Tilanga Sumatipala when I was in Colombo in 2018. And then I said that, what about Mahela and Sangakkara? What are you going to do about them? And then they said, see, Mahela and Sangakkara they do want to contribute to Sri Lankan cricket. But the way how they want to go about it is different. One individual is stressing upon franchisee-based cricket. The other is basing the assumption that, okay, let us reduce the number of teams that are there. Sri Lankan domestic cricket has got an insane number of teams.
Sorry, so is that for first class structure?
The first class structure.
Oh, okay.
And the T20 structure also. They want to revamp these two things. Now, in the Sri Lanka domestic team, you look at the central zone, you look at the western, eastern, every part, you see there are so many teams. Now, even in the franchisee, even now for the past 2 years, you just had only 2 years of the Lanka Premier League.
Premier League, yeah.
Before that, where there was a proper franchisee system in Sri Lanka, zero.
Mm.
So where are you going to start? Will they be bold enough, like what Imran Khan did with the PCB, and then said, okay, we have to reduce the number of teams in the
Yes.
Qaeda-e-Azam?
Mm.
Will they be bold enough? I don't think so. Where
Mhm.
are the players?
Mm. Interesting. Very interesting.
And the school system in Sri Lanka is even more competitive, I would say, than the domestic structure there.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
no. I
The
mean, look
youth
at
has
community
been good.
college is amazing.
Mm.
Can I just say, Sri Lanka, still to this day, pound for pound, have got more talent than any other cricketing nation in the world. I'll tell you now, they
But where
have. Sorry,
Indeed.
So where they're getting lost is that's their system, isn't it?
I'm afraid to say it's political, it's corruption, it's who. I mean, the right people aren't making the decisions. When Arjuna was more involved, when Kushal Gunasekara was more involved, they unearthed champions, they unearthed Malingas, even they unearthed Murali, they unearthed Ranganahara. There's a whole lot of players that really. There's Emble is one of them. There's a couple more that I know personally who are amazing players, but they've gone by the wayside, and they've been.
Isn't Jayawardena in a consultancy role with Sri Lanka board now?
Look, I wish Simon Willis was here. Simon Willis, obviously the high performance coach at one stage of England, he was also involved with Sri Lanka heavily. He knows all about what I'm talking about firsthand. And he was one of the only people that really was able to be neutral, non-political, not corrupt, and get things started there. Trust me, they are the most. Look at the players. Look at the way that they're not out of the box. They're not. That if I think you mentioned too, most even the Pakistan players like that as well. Let them be the way they are. Don't overcoach them. Don't manipulate them. If they've got a certain technique, let it go. And I think that's where the key to Sri Lanka. They have that ability. Not unlike Pakistan. Pakistan's the same. The best players come out of the rough, don't they? Diamond out of the rough scenarios.
Yeah.
In India, it doesn't work that way too much.
I think India.
Cool, isn't it? Would you agree, Vish? You don't have that many unique players. It's a bit more, I think, stereotypical about
The
the way.
structure is much more streamlined now.
Very, very good.
Because now, but again, we are facing a problem of the other end. We are facing a problem of plenty. Now,
which is a good problem to have, I suppose.
But how many are you going to get in? Because see, there are so many in one particular group. It's like the Australian team of the 2000s. There are so many good players.
Too many good
players. In India, A and B.
It's a good problem to have, Sid. I think it's.
I mean, look at Norman Mosen. If you remember, in the mid 90s, there was Australia A, England, and Zimbabwe. Australia A defeated England and Zimbabwe to get into the final.
I agree.
Because who are the players in that? Ponting, Martin, Hayden.
Stuart Law. Hayden.
Stuart Law. Oh, that team. I think apart from Phil Emery, everybody else played Test cricket more than 50 times. Apart from Phil Emery in that team.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with India having an A and B side. I think that's not a bad concept, you know that?
No.
I really don't. Because at the moment, they're confused with their structure in terms of who's going to play on that side. They've got Raquel Rahul, Prithvi Shaw, and Gill unable to make the side. Yeah. And they're feeling that pressure. They felt the pressure to get rid of Rahane and Pujara the same way as well.
You have Hanuma Vihari, you have Umesh Yadav, you have Ishant, you have Mohammad Siraj. Mohammad Siraj didn't play this test match.
That's right.
I mean, what are you going to do?
No,
they should consider having an India A side. I don't think it's
I think it's
Australia. It even happened with the West Indies somewhat. It's something we can. I don't mind that. I do not mind that.
Even if you have a B, C, and D, only 11 players can still play.
That's true. That's very true.
Because the India structure now, because of what the changes that they did in the domestic structure back then, which was under, if I may add, in this current regime under Anil Kumble's watch, they wanted to produce more fast bowlers. When did the fast bowling spurt come up? After the end of Kumble's captaincy, and when they decided that a domestic structure has to be revamped.
Yes, true.
From 2010 to 2011, IPL was just part of it.
Part of it, yeah.
But
red ball,
real, yeah. The real domestic improvement started showing from 2011 onwards. When we were hammered 4-0 in England, when we were hammered 4-0 in Australia. After that, it started.
That's true.
And now you're reaping the benefits. A Bumrah can come from a system. A Shami can be sustained. Siraj. Umesh Yadav continues to be.
Yeah, so many.
And even in the under-19 setup, if you look at it, Nagarkoti, Kamlesh Nagarkoti, Shivam Mavi. And even in this,
he said India
versus
versus
young spinners, even
more
the young
interesting
spinners,
India versus Sri Lanka. He's not wrong. Prasidi as well as another player.
Krishna, yes. Then you have Rajvardhan Hangargekar, even Ravi Kumar in the 2022 Under-19 World Cup.
Yeah. And there's so many
immense.
batters coming through as well. Like young batters are making impact.
The current Indian cricket head coach also deserves a lot of credit.
True, very true.
He could have easily been one of the commentators enjoying a very private life.
Yeah, absolutely, and making a stressless life.
Rahul Dravid decided, I want to go into the field. I want to identify the talent.
Yeah.
And India's youth cricket success and ace success. 5 finals in the last 10 years in the Under-19 World Cup.
That's true.
3 wins.
You know
all
what?
Go to this man.
I must add, a lot of coaches who've got high profile, they want to go straight into international with the senior teams, not with the youth. He was the first one to come out and said, look, I don't want to work with the seniors because obviously seniors are what they are. I want to go and develop the system and bring out the young talent and groom them. And look, 5 years of his work is absolutely backing what your argument is. He's just showing that what he's done at the academy level and working with the youth and young boys, and it's just phenomenal. And now he can just enjoy their success while he's the head coach of the men's team. And I think the legacy will continue no matter who will come into the system. I think Lakshman is doing the academy now.
Lakshman is at the NCA. He's the NCA head now.
Yeah, so I think that legacy, what he's set up, will continue, and they'll reap that fruit for many years, I think.
Indeed, because you need good man managers now and the people who can spot talent. Pakistan now are finding that way now, because look at the way now, there's no open door policy. If Rizwan fails or if Babar fails, you're shunned out of the next test. No. They have given them a time. Shaheen to even Hassan Ali. And I'm very impressed by what Sajid Khan is doing. He looks like a off-spinner version of Danish Kaneria, that high arm action.
Right. No front arm, but he...
I'll be honest though, when I see Sajid Khan bowl, don't take this wrongly, but it looks like they've got a park cricketer to come in the bowl. It's most bizarre, but he bowls well. But it's like Neumann and Sajid are just like me and someone else coming in and playing because they need some players. They don't look like cricketers. No. I don't know why Norman looks like he's the butcher up the road. He's got this, and that's not being. They don't look like they should be there. But I'm so happy that they are.
I had the same feeling about Rahat Ali when he had come in. I mean, that guy has got such a. It just seemed like he doesn't want to bowl. Lazy, but he was effective for a brief moment. Although that catch that he dropped in the 2015 quarterfinal sealed Pakistan's fate.
That got done.
Yeah, but so that is where I'm getting to. You need good man managers. India have been blessed with 2 superb man managers in the past 5 years, Ravi Shastri and now Rahul Dravid. With Sri Lanka, they just don't. There's no coach that is willing to stick with them for a long period of time. So where is the talent? Mahela should have been, as a consultant, he should have been in the Sri Lanka dressing room for 2 tough tours.
Two tough tours. He was in Australia.
Australia and India are no minnows. They are the 2 toughest tours that one can go to. But he's not there.
No.
But yet Sri Lanka paying him top dollar. Yet he's not there.
Yeah.
Sangakkara now with the IPL. Now again, what will the IPL prioritize now? Who's going to pay Mahela and Sangha more? It'll be the IPL franchisee, not the Sri Lanka Cricket Board. They don't have that money.
No. Of course, and they will be there every game, both of them. So that's unfortunate. I think they both needed to put the country. Obviously, IPL window allows them to do the franchise cricket anyway, but during the off IPL time, they needed to give that time back to the country. And I don't know how political it is. As Norman's saying, it is quite political in Sri Lanka, and it's quite corrupt, the system is. But if they've got Mahela as a consultant, you 100% right, Sid. The two tours, that they should have been priority for him. He should have been here in Australia. He should have been in India to look after the team, or at least taking notes for what he wants to improve or what he wants to do going forward. But if you're not there and watching the game on TV, I don't know how much vibe you're going to get, because when you're with the players, you pick up more than just the cricketing things, and you understand what direction you want to take the team forward.
Because I'll give you one more example, Norman Mosin. You must have watched in 2022. Mahela was there with the Sri Lanka under-19 team in the World Cup. They were in a group of death. Sri Lanka,
That's
West
right.
Indies in Australia, and
Yeah.
Scotland. But they topped the group. They defeated Australia. They defeated West Indies.
Yes,
And
that's
it took a superhuman effort from Afghanistan to knock them out. It took a superhuman effort from them. And
Yes.
there are stars in the team. Dunit Vellalage, I saw the guy.
You have-
Superb
hang on.
captain.
You go domestically to Sri Lanka, Mosen said, you go and have a look, you'll be shocked at the standard. I've always maintained this. Okay, they had a golden period, Sri Lanka, but if you notice they're young, not unlike Pakistan, like the way that Aqib Javed got Harris Rath out of the woods, so to speak, in Lahore. You know, Sri Lanka has to go back to that. You need Mahela in the coaching leadership, and you need administratively Sangakkara in charge of that country. Those two lead the country as far as that's concerned. And maybe bring Arjuna back and with Malinga to go out and find these rough diamonds. And you watch, they will be a long-term threat as they were in the late 90s. They really have, and the same goes with Pakistan too. Pakistan's got an enormous depth of player, haven't they? They've had the difficulty of not playing at home. Domestically, they were shot for a long time. PSL's brought them back into play. Now Australia's playing there. They've got their golden period to come.
But Norman,
I maintain that Australia,
Pakistan
India
now have a pretty streamlined process now, because Aqib Javed is doing such a great job for them.
He is.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Now there is a Now I just have a formula for Sri Lanka cricket, if I just might. You look at, I know politics will shut it down totally. I know the opaque structure of Sri Lanka's administration will shut it down. But technically, if you want to make Sri Lanka cricket great again, look at a couple of players from each era. From the 80s, 2 from the 80s, 2 from the 90s, 2 from 2020, so the 2010, 2020. Let's look at that. Formulate a team which will report only to the Sri Lanka cricket head. Okay, just them. No outside interference, no lobby, no nothing. My team would be of 8 people. Say, suppose Dulip Mendes, Roy Dias, Sana Jayasuriya, Asanha Guru Sinha.
Yes.
Because if there was one underrated hero, apart from Aravinda and Arjuna in that team who gave them success, it was actually Asanha Guru Sinha.
Aravinda's, I'm sorry, is tainted by political interference.
Exactly.
Jayasuriya is as well. There's quite a few. I could mention another 20 of them, actually.
Maybe Dilshan, Dilkaratne Dilshan.
There seems to be a Sri Lankan player Melbourne enclave now. All the Sri Lankan greats are headed for Melbourne now.
But they're staying. They live here. Guru is in Melbourne. Dil's in Sydney, I think. Dilshan lives in Sydney now. Guru's in Melbourne.
Guru is in Melbourne.
He's in Melbourne. So, you know.
Philip Mendes obviously heads Oman cricket.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so they've left.
Actually, I happen to know Dilip very well. His son Nero was a great friend of mine. He's based in Brisbane, actually, Mosen. And Nero is a great friend of mine. And I went and visited good old Dilip in Oman, and he took me around before they had grass on the fields. I was very honoured to be given the full royal treatment by Dilip. He and his wife, we're great friends. Well, I've known him for well over 20 years. Know him very well. He's a great guy. Lovely man.
The other question I had for you two both, I think from top of my head, what's his name? Australian. He's still involved with the Sri Lankan cricket, isn't he? Tom Moody. Is he still involved?
I don't think so.
Who? Sorry?
Tom Moody.
Yeah, he went in there and helped out. I don't know whether he was the answer. I'm sorry. He's actually stuffing up IPL at the moment with these. He was Sunrisers Hyderabad. Tom Moody, all the issues there too. You know that, don't you?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I'm not knocking him. He's a nice gentleman, but I think that in Sri Lanka, I've heard a few things that he didn't go down that well in the end. What Sri Lanka sort of stopped doing is bringing in the white knight, and I mean that quite literally. They've got good people internally if they find the right ones, and they've got them in Mahela and Sangakkara. Put one as the chairman of the cricket board, the other head of coaching or whatever.
Head of talent scout.
Yeah, do talent scouting and that type of stuff. Yep.
They're both eloquent, intelligent, honourable people that do the right thing and know
they have respect for the word as well,
and can be followed. They got to get rid of the people that have been there for a long time. They go in and out of politics, in and out of corrupt ways. All the television rights that they go, whatever amount of truckloads of millions that goes nowhere near the board and nowhere near the players, goes straight into someone's pocket.
Yeah.
You know that story, don't you? I think 95% of the kitty disappeared.
That's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate.
How can you survive when all your money goes out the door? You can't. I mean, look, I'm sure there's been corruption in Pakistan cricket, India cricket, probably, and I would argue in Australian cricket, there's elements of power and corruption that go on as well. We know that. There was a cover-up. I won't go into whatever certain media management. We won't talk about it on air because I get a lot of trouble. The thing is that it is something of an issue for me. We'll never get away from that, but they can try. They can get people. Shane Warne, for example, albeit he may have opened a nightclub as opposed to a cricket board, he would have been someone of a great position to be innovative and give back. Anyway, all right. So you think there'll be a draw out of this test match between Australia and Pakistan? There's no hope of a result. We can't say that.
I don't see any other way, unfortunately.
No.
You see a draw?
Yeah.
Yep. A draw. Unless Norman, your prediction of an Australian collapse comes true.
My word, funny things have happened. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah. But I think the weather's not good for the next 2 days, I guess, in Rawalpindi.
Who?
It's predicted rain for
the weather's not good for 2 days in Rawalpindi in the remaining 2 days.
No.
It's so funny.
I
One
don't
day,
know. I think there's something strange with the ground. I think there's something strange with the ground. The light fades quicker. I don't know whether
it's kind of a valley. I was telling Norman the other day, it's kind of a valley. So sun sets behind the mountains really quickly. Like 4 o'clock, and it's like coming autumn now. So sun really sets really quickly down behind the mountain. So that's one way. But then it's been cloudy for the last couple of days anyway. So even today they clocked off at 4 o'clock. So the light was that bad. So I think with weather hanging around and pitch not deteriorating any, I don't see any result coming through.
Yeah. It's such a... Why can't they start earlier? They started 10 minutes earlier today. What's 10 minutes earlier?
Start half an hour early, but they didn't.
Maybe broadcaster issues. You have to start at a very certain period of time for all these advertisements.
I think it's because India had that hour earlier time slot. And was encroached in half an hour. They do want to mix. There seemed to be a bit of rivalry between the Indian and the Pakistani broadcasting times. They couldn't be simultaneous. Well, that was a mistake in itself. One of those test matches should have started on a different day, shouldn't they, really?
That's true. That started same day. But now that the test is finished, the India-Sri Lanka, I think tomorrow they could start.
Yeah, I mean, when they decided the FTP, they should have thought about all these logistics. But the ICC and all the boards think in a very horse-like manner. They don't look at all these other things. When was the last time a cricket match has been friendly for spectators? I would just like to know. When?
No.
In Asia in particular, it has been spectator friendly for spectators, I'm saying.
Yeah.
TV as far and at the ground in places like New Zealand, Australia, England,
Yeah.
preferably South Africa, maybe. But in the
Maybe.
subcontinent, that's never
No.
been our prerogative. Never.
No. No.
We are
That's true.
we are watching you. We are. It's like they're doing us a favor. Hey, we are playing cricket in 45 degrees, in minus 10 degrees. You better come and watch,
That's right.
and
That's
you
true.
better arrange for your own things. It's like that in the subcontinent.
The transport, the water, there was no shade in Rawalpindi Stadium. If you saw the stadium, there was no shade.
Nowhere. I mean,
It's unbelievable.
even in Perth, Norman, when there was a food poison breakout in the stadium, they were quick to say, please don't consume anything. It was
No.
quick.
Yes.
But
yes.
even in the subcontinent, if you consume something very poisonous, okay, you're suffering, suffer.
It's
It
your
doesn't matter to
fault.
us.
It's your fault.
Just go out.
I'm trying to download something here. It's driving me nuts. Okay, look. Okay. We won't be talking about India Sri Lanka anymore because it's over. Sri Lanka smacked. Australia, Pakistan, we could fizzle out to a draw. What a pity. I'm so happy for the Pakistan audience to be able to have live cricket at home. I love the way the signs thanked Australia for coming. It is quite sincere. I mean, they've had their issues over the years, but are we going to see India versus Pakistan again? That's my next question. The reality is, the last one was 2007-8, which I went to. Are they going to do it again? Are they going to have India versus Pakistan test matches, not the other?
Yeah. I sincerely, as Ashes is so big every second year, I sincerely wish that India Pakistan continue to happen every 2 years, home and away, because there's no better cricket than watching India Pakistan play, whether it's Test match or one day. But I think Test match more so than white ball.
Test match. I mean, imagine Shaheen Shah bowling full tilt to Rohit Sharma.
Oh,
Imagine
amazing.
Naseem Shah. But unfortunately now Pakistan don't have the spin depth now, unfortunately.
No, true, very true.
Because Yasir Shah is now a faded force, and that's a big blow. I mean,
It is.
we are talking about Pakistan's pace reserves, which will always be there because of the culture that they produce of tape ball cricket, gully cricket. That's where they come from. And
Exactly.
the next two tests are in Lahore and Karachi, the hotbed of street cricket in Pakistan and tape ball cricket.
Yeah.
But where is your next spinner coming from?
No, I don't see anyone apart from unless they bring Shadab back into white ball, into red ball cricket.
Red ball, yeah.
I don't see there's another spinner, a traditional spinner like you got Ashwin, Jadeja, so many. I don't see any traditional spinner coming in and dominating in Pakistan cricket at the moment.
Because again, look at the India and Pakistan things. You got left armer, nominally kind of like Ravindra Jadeja, but minus the rip and accuracy.
That's true.
Sajid Khan is like Ashwin because he's got drift, but he's not accurate. What makes Ashwin so deadly? Accuracy.
100%.
Weird. I'd find it weird facing him. I wouldn't know what was going on. Kerry O'Keefe described it as a rat up a drain pipe. He's like he's been spat out of the drain pipe. The way he comes at you, like he.
Look, I would have not want to face. I mean, not for the pace or anything, for the pace factor or anything. I mean, the bowler who would have put me off the most would have been Jeff Thompson, right on the back. I mean, and he's just slingshotting you. I mean, hey, this is not bowling. I would have said that.
Or Malinga would have been the same. Malinga would be just as bad.
No, but at least you can copy Malinga's action. I mean, it's okay if you've got the dynamics and your shoulder is strong, you can copy it. But you just can't copy Jeff Thompson. Or Sean Tate for that matter. Your elbow will come off your hand.
Yes.
Well, Sean Tate's now that he's in isolation or something. He's about to be positioned as the Pakistan bowling coach.
He was supposed to be the bowling consultant, right, for Pakistan?
Yeah. His father passed away, so he's joining the team in Karachi.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so 9th of March he'll join the team. Yeah.
Right. But I do want, I mean, for the first time after so many years, I mean, after 2004, when I saw Pakistan ground finally live test match has been played. I mean, what a
Yeah.
sight it was. I mean,
It is a
I
sight.
only wish there were more fans. I mean, the Rawalpindi Stadium is a lot different than what it was in 2004 than it's now. It's much
Yeah.
more cleaner, much more artistic, if I have to say. But all stadiums in Pakistan have undergone a revamp.
Yeah, they have gone revamp. I think with the IPL, the money has come in a little bit now. They're building a new stadium in Peshawar as well and Islamabad.
They must. They must. I mean, the Arbab Niaz Stadium in Peshawar, I remember hosted some pretty good games. I mean, I don't know. With Pakistan's case, do you have to keep matches in Peshawar, Multan, considering that the facilities are not that up to
No.
date? Because even in India, we have the debate. Should we keep red ball cricket in all these tier 2, tier 3 centers and keep ODIs and T20s only for the major cities?
I think it is. I think it goes again with your commercialization, where there's more commercial benefits, I suppose. So you want your highly sellable games to the tier one centers, and you can then oblige the tier two centers. But Australia, we've gone differently. Like Tassie, we don't get test match in Tasmania. It was just one off this year because WA was all locked down, so the test match.
Perth decided to shoot itself in its foot. Yeah.
But otherwise, Tassie don't get a test match, especially with the high profile, if like India or South Africa, they don't get a test.
But Mohsin, Norman, don't you think that because Australia's calendar has been so flexible in these last 20 years, or I may say it's left an impression, you know that Melbourne will host the Boxing Day test. You know Sydney will host the New Year's test. The opening test has to be in Brisbane. So 3 out of the 5 tests are already sorted out. And the pink ball test will always be in Adelaide. Now that's a fixture.
That's right.
But in Pakistan, I think they're in that same position as what Australia can be. Keep Lahore, Karachi, and Rawalpindi for only marquee tests.
That's right.
Because Karachi and Lahore have got such a rich history.
Absolutely.
The first test in Pakistan was played in Karachi. They have played in Lahore.
That's right. That's right.
Keep Multan, Peshawar, maybe Hyderabad, Sindh.
Yeah.
There is also, I think, a stadium in Balochistan also, which is pretty good.
It's all got revamped as well, the Hyderabad stadium as well. So
keep those for the PSL, T20, and ODIs. But test matches, because for Pakistan now that they're making a comeback, keep them in these 3 key centers of Lahore, Karachi, Peshawar.
I think
so. That you know, okay, when we come to Pakistan, these are your centers.
That's right. This is where the first test is. This is second. This is third. That I think
always.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's a very good suggestion. I like the idea, and I think that would go well. And plus, then you are not only developing your tier 2 centers as well, plus the exposure and everything, and facilities will get updated.
Indeed, and Pakistan is doing a pretty good job of it now. I mean,
true.
Now when I saw the PSL, the quality and the way how they conduct the cricket games is pretty damn good.
That's good.
I mean, they have almost caught up with the IPL, if I have to say. But they're still some miles behind, but they made a very good start.
They have. I think they're on the right path. I think they'll in next couple of years. I think they'll be really downpacking all those areas where there's still a few gaps, but I think they're filling up those gaps quickly.
Touchwood. And I think somewhere down the line, I don't know which franchise. I think it was Peshawar Zalmi. I think the owner of Zalmi is making a big jump into the Premier League of England. That might boost Chelsea. Yes, Javed Afridi, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's
Javed Afridi in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Imagine the money that will come into the PSL for that, and that will be massive.
Yeah. Well, he wants to buy Chelsea.
Yes. Yeah. Because Roman Abramovich has decided to, because of the current Russia-Ukraine tensions.
Yeah, so he wants to buy a stake in Chelsea.
He wants to buy a stake. Now imagine how that will boost the profile of the PSL if that happens.
Absolutely, 100%.
Just go back to this comment from Sadfik Bakari, who often makes good comments. Why did Quader need to play that shot at 97? Look, why didn't Austin Dickweller play what he played in the first innings of the match? That looked terrible. Sweep shots are fraught with risk. And Simon Caddett said it best. He said, look, you can't, if a person is caught cover driving, to tell him never to cover drive again. No, it's the way they play, it's the risk they take. You know, punts, Nelson
You should look at
even.
Kohli.
It's going to happen.
You should look at Kohli every time the cover drive.
Yeah.
Nick caught. No, but credit to Khwaja and Warner. They were playing the reverse sweep and the sweep very well.
Very well.
In this entire day.
Yes.
Out of 9, they middled 8.
Yes.
Manas was struggling because I don't think Manas employs the sweep shot that much.
No.
I mean, you look at the balls that Norman Ali bowled. He was missing it and he was getting hit on the chest.
He was even with the off spinner with Sajid. He was struggling earlier on. He was skidding the ball and he was playing all of the deliveries from back foot. And if anything that skidded under, he would have been done. But I think Uzi played both conventional and reverse all day really well, and that put off. And you look at Noman Ali, he only bowled one spell to those guys, and he didn't come back and bowl again because they took him out of the attack. So, you know, being harsh on Uzi playing a reverse sweep and getting out on 97, I think it's a bit harsh. But I think they did the job. They put the spinners out of the game by playing both conventional and reverse.
And it was Uzi who actually blunted Naseem and Shaheen in the initials. And Warner was all at sea against them.
Exactly. He was even playing ram shots when Naseem was bumping him. So he was not flustered at all. So I think you got to give, can't be that harsh on Uzi of playing that one shot that didn't come off.
I mean, Quad's inning was beautiful to watch, wasn't he? He had some beautiful shots.
Fantastic.
He should not be dropped from this Australian side until he decides to retire. That's my opinion. He's too much quality. We need Khawaja in there for the indefinite period. I'm serious. He's a magnificent player.
Especially in Asian conditions, you need him he's as important as Smith. He's as important as Warner. He's as important as Labuschagne. You need him. Otherwise, if you get somebody, again, let me fall back upon Marcus Harris, you're already 0 for 1 in the first over itself.
I want him to be dropped. Good. Awful. Awful.
You got to stick with Uzi now for the next couple of years.
You need to stick with Uzi. If you don't bring him on the tour to India, then forget about Australia even trying to draw a test match. Forget about it.
No.
Usman Khawaja, if he'd been allowed to play the last few years for whatever reason, in good or bad form, he would have scored another 10 centuries. Definitely.
He would. Yes. Agree.
He would be right up there with 8,000 or 9,000 test runs if he was allowed to play through this period. He's absolute and utter class.
He's a class.
I don't know what happened. Langer didn't like him. Someone else didn't like him. I'm sorry. I'd even argue he could be an Australian captain.
I mean, if I have to look at it, okay, in the last 12 years, whenever Australia have toured the subcontinent, there has been only one victory and only one draw. Who does that one victory, the credit goes to? Steve Smith. Who does that one draw go to? Usman Khawaja. At 141 in Dubai, and in even difficult testing conditions, because it was not like Rawalpindi, a short front. The Dubai pitch was crumbling. And Yasir was having his tail up.
That's right.
Plus Mohammad Abbas. At that time, Mohammad Abbas was a very potent bowler.
He was.
Amazing.
Australia's two classic bogeys, reverse swing and leg spin, have been employed in full go. Khawaja blunted both.
Khawaja did, yeah. No, I'm with you both. That he needs to get the extended run now, and play with not having a fear of getting dropped.
Yeah. But again, I just don't understand. I mean, what's going on with this Australian team also? Because they may escape with a draw in this short front, but they picked the wrong team.
Oh, no, they did. We spoke about it. We should have gone with...
They picked the wrong team. Where is the second spinner? Where is Swepson?
Yeah.
You're using head.
Agar should be in there for sure.
Yeah. We should have gone with an additional spinner.
Swepson and bloody Marcus Harris shouldn't have been selected. I'm sorry. Bloody Wade should never be called again at test level, even though he did okay in the World Cup. Bring in. I want Aaron Finch for a test player. It's not going to happen. But I would love to see Zampa as the second spinner with Agar. Because he's
Zampa,
got.
I mean, what does anybody have a problem with Adam Zampa in Australia, Norman? What
He's
more
been
does the guy need to do?
pigeonholed.
Yeah.
He's been pigeonholed. You should
Pigeonholed.
see, by the way, I'm just uploading Usman Khawaja's press conference. Usman Khawaja looks like he's been in the Winter Olympics. He's got a Olympic type winter beanie on. Must be cold.
Cold. Yeah, it's cold.
Yeah, it is. Because even here, it's the temperatures dropped in Delhi.
Oh, is it?
Because we are quite nearby, Rawalpindi, Delhi.
Yeah.
It's not that far.
No,
Yeah.
they're not.
Can you see this? I'll just show you. Can you see the
Uh,
beanie?
oh, yeah.
Even in the change rooms when they showed the balcony, he was with hoodie on.
It's funny for him to come to the media conference with it on, though.
No, not with the hood, not with the. That's Uzi for you.
Well, you know, Mosen, tell Sid about your relation with Uzi.
Yeah, look, I've been around with New South Wales cricket when Usman started with New South Wales cricket. So again, have good relationship built with him, and then I was with him with the Sydney Thunder as well when we won the premiership as well. So
2015.
2015, that's correct. So both Uzi and Fawad were in that team as well. So so I've had that good relationship built through the system. But yeah, that's Uzi. He will do things like that. He'll just rock up with beanie on.
And you're
I know,
both
but I don't know.
background too.
Sorry, Norman, say it again.
You both have Pakistani background, so you can
That's right.
converse in Urdu, can't you?
Yeah.
You can say sly comments behind people's back without knowing what you're saying.
No, but Norman, I've always held my grouse against the IPL also and Australian cricket. What's wrong with Adam Zampa? What more does he need to do?
I don't know. I think he would be a superb test bowler. He could be Warne-esque. He really could be. He's got great.
He's won you the ICC World T20. He's won you that. And you're playing in conditions which might suit him, yet you don't pick him.
I don't know.
Drop him. You know that they're going to play Aga in front of him. So it's
I just don't understand. I mean,
what's going on here?
I mean,
it's not like the McGill Warne era. At least McGill got an extended run.
Yeah,
Zampa,
exactly.
I mean,
he was dropped because of Warne, but he's got no one.
He's got no one.
Actually,
Maybe the shield average are they looking too much into the shield averages, Norman? Yeah, 43, 45, 47. I mean, I think he averages the high 40s, I guess. Zampa.
Yeah.
Can that be a benchmark? I really don't know.
Don't know. But he used to play at SCG and then he left and gone to Adelaide.
South Australia, Adelaide.
South Australia, yeah. So he was not playing on ideal spinning tracks anyway. But having said that, there's no one else.
Yeah. I mean, Shane Warne, the great Shane Warne, never honed his skills in Sydney. He honed his craft in Melbourne.
Melbourne or Brisbane, yeah.
Although Warne did start with his first test at the SCG, and his last test was at the SCG.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but if you have to look at the success in Australian pitches, I think he had more success in Brisbane, not much of Sydney.
No. He never had a bag full or dominated in Sydney. He never did. He bowled well, but he had good success in Melbourne and he had good success at the Gabba in Brisbane. Anywhere that he get the bounce, he was really successful. So yeah,
indeed.
I mean, look, Warne was the best bowler in the world.
Yeah, well, no doubt.
Full stop.
No doubt.
We have to say that now quite emphatically. He's dead, but I mean, in all honesty, he will go down as the best bowler in the world.
And the best
hands
captain
down
Australia never had.
I don't mean just statistically. All the theatre, all the aura. He's the most copied bowler in the world, isn't he? I mean, really, there isn't many of a generation and current players, as we said. Warner, Smith, Labuschagne, even Michael Clark, although he's left-hander, all wanted to be Shane Warne.
Yeah, bleach hair, earrings. gold chain,
Zampa.
everything.
Isn't that incredible? They wanted the earrings, they wanted the dyed hair, they wanted the carry on, they wanted to be him. That says a lot. How much did he influence Australian or world cricket? I mean, Yashir Shah also was another person who
Danish
definitely.
King area.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
All the leg spinners, apart from Anil Kumble, every other leg spinner in the world has been influenced by Shane Warne. There's no two ways about it.
No, there's no two ways.
Because Kumble had his own way. He was a faster leg spin bowler who relied a lot more on bounce and accuracy. So he didn't
That's
go by
right.
the Warne book. But in England,
He was very
gosh,
tall as well.
yeah. If in England, if they had produced someone, even one person close to Shane Warne,
Yeah,
even now they're still struggling for a spin backup.
that's right.
They haven't had one since Graham Swan.
No.
The
No, they
same
haven't.
thing might happen with India in 4-5 years down the line. Where's your next spinner?
Yeah, well,
After Ashwin Jadeja, who?
post Nathan Lyon, I don't see any dominant spinner. We will struggle again. Well, Nathan Lyon would have probably another couple of years in him, but then who's behind him?
After
No
that,
one.
where is the next great spinner from Australia? No one.
No one. No one.
No. But look, go back to Ashwin for a moment. We're all forgetting that he's now ninth highest wicket taker in the world. Ninth.
Yeah.
He's catapulted in the top 10. He's gone past Kapil Dev. He's only got Kumble in front of him for India. I don't think even India really understands how good he is. I really don't. But when I look back to the way he wasn't selected for the series against England, and there were a few gaps in his career, what happened there? I mean, the guy is.
I will never. That's where I guess Kohli's captaincy meant for a toss.
Look,
Ashwin is no longer your condition bowler. He's an all-condition bowler.
All-condition bowler, regardless. Yeah, true.
He is not the Ashwin of 2011 anymore.
He'll go past.
Kohli only picked him accordingly where he felt he was going to play the role. Like he didn't play many games in Australia last tour, which is.
But not many people might want to point that out. Yes, Rishabh Pant batted brilliantly. Shardul Thakur's all-round exploits, Washington Sundar's exploits, all played a great role. But who kept Smith quiet in the first two tests? It was Ashwin.
Ashwin, yeah.
Adelaide and Sydney. Adelaide and Melbourne. He just bamboozled Smith. Smith manages 1 century. But he was not that Smith. That's Steve Smith who used to dominate India.
No, he wasn't. But that's the thing that again, it just didn't sink in with me that what's going on with Ashwin. You know, he was just not given that extended run. He was just given a pick and choose grounds where you think that he'll play a role otherwise.
And it impacted him in South Africa. You look at it, it impacted him in South Africa. He struggled.
Yeah. Agreed.
Oh, look, there's no doubt that Kohli and Ashwin had some severe friction between the two of them. When they're in the dressing room at Lord's, I remember seeing Ashwin in the corner with his arms folded, looking very, circumspect when Kohli was walking around. There was obviously some tension there.
But I think Ashwin was pigeonholed because I think Ashwin was seen as a blue-eyed boy for Dhoni as well because of his Chennai connection and he was really good mates with Dhoni.
Right.
Took him things, could be, but hopefully it doesn't affect him anymore, and he keeps going and gets that 600, 700 wickets. All
right, guys, we've just reached an hour and a half, which has been. It doesn't feel like it. You guys have been fantastic to talk to. It's been wonderful. We've got a lot out of this discussion. India Sri Lanka on for the moment. We're concentrating on Australia versus Pakistan. Hopefully not a draw, but it looks like it's heading that way. But still riveting, still worth seeing. I love watching it. It's amazing. It's just, people say, oh, the pitch is bad, blah, blah. I love this cricket. I love to see bowlers having to struggle and show their wares to get through it. And batters that get big scores. I like seeing that.
No, but then it's better than in that case. Let's just install a bowling machine.
Yeah, that's true.
Because again, I'll tell you why. I've not always fancied high scores in cricket for a couple of reasons. One, the grounds are already smaller. The boundaries are already smaller. The bats are bigger.
Outs feels quick.
Yeah, you can only bowl 1 or 2 bouncers. That's it. No
That's
more
right.
bouncer. The prohibitions are there. The wickets, okay, you just have to insert concrete on them. That's it.
That's it. Yeah. No.
So you
No.
blunted 5 basic weapons of the bowlers. Plus
Mm.
now there is no scope for variation. The dusra, you can't. The chucking thing is now
Plus,
gone.
no sweat. No sweat saliva on the ball, so you're not going to
No
get
sweat saliva.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous. What a stupid rule.
How can you not put
So,
sweat?
So Mohammed
Then it's
Shah
better you just
wiping his
have a bowling
backside with the
machine.
ball today. He pulled his shirt down, and I think he even wiped it near his backside. Did you see that?
You gotta allow
Well,
sweat.
there must be some sweat or something down there that shouldn't be.
You can't. Everybody can't be like Alistair Cook, who can't sweat. He has a.
Yeah.
I think you know the condition, right? He
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
sweat ever. Alistair Cook.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weird.
Either get. I've always said you have to legalize ball tampering. You must.
Yeah. Any substance that is within your, like, your sweat saliva, don't get external substance, but
Yeah. Even if you get an external substance, get it approved by the match referee or the umpire. Simple.
Yeah, this is
Before
one
the
thing
match.
Yeah, true. Sunscreen or lolly or whatever.
Or in the case, if you want a bottle opener, so be it.
So be
Do
it.
it to the bottle opener, but get
Do
the
it.
approval from the authorities.
That's
Simple.
right. Yeah.
Because the bowlers have no weapons.
Nothing. No.
They've got a bazooka, but there's nothing in there.
No. That's
Now I've broken a record. This every 48 hours, like an increment. I've had 500,000 people look at my YouTube channel in the last 48 hours. It was 300,000. Now it's 500,000. I'm getting a bit out of hand with this. It's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. Congratulations, mate. You're doing a good job.
Congratulations. Yes.
I'm very happy, but it is a bit daunting. So, and whenever I say, "Oh, I think we should go," 30 or 40 extra people are joining in. It's bizarre. That was a tactic I'll use to keep on saying.
Invite them tomorrow. We'll sum up day 4 tomorrow.
Oh, guys, it's been wonderful. Both of you, Siddharth, you're fantastic. Most you guys have got great, insightful ways and knowledge. It's a pleasure to listen to you talk and be a part of a conversation. It really is impressive. Thanks very much for joining me. You both go home and have a coffee.
Pleasure. Thanks. Nice meeting you.
Thanks.
Pleasure.
Nice talking to you too, Mohsin. Nice talking to you too.
You two guys connect on whatever platforms.
I'll exchange the contacts with why Norman. Norman, can you pass my details on to Sid as well? So then we'll connect on social media as well.
Of course.
Pleasure,
Norman
mate.
will do it.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Thanks,
Mohsin. Let's connect here. Bye.
Thank you, Mohsin.
Bye, Norman. See you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao. Good guy. He's a good guy.
Indeed. Yeah.
Knowledgeable.
Rajasthan Royals.
So many. He's talking to Usman all the time. He's talking to the Pakistani players. He's got a great level of contact. A lot of insightfulness, and he was involved with the Rajasthan Royals from the very day one with Warren.
From day one, yeah, I know. That's why he looked familiar, but he's grown a beard. He didn't have a beard at that time.
All right, Siddharth. Take care.
See you. Has winter set in Australia, or it's still
winter?
Warm?
It's March. It's still hot.
Oh yeah. Here too, winter's about to go away from here. Winter's about to go away.
I'm actually sweating here at the moment. I'm almost like on a steamboat.
Oh damn! Take care, Norman. See you.
All right, take care, Sid.
Bye.
Ciao. All right, guys, it's wonderful to have these people on Magnificent Australia, clearly in the driving seat at the moment. Well, you could argue not. We'll say Ashwin is not an all-conditions bowler. Well, his record's amazing. He's 9th highest wicket taker overall ever, and he's rampaging up there. He's just passed a couple of. He's only got Kumble ahead of him. He's taken the most wickets of any Indian bowler, which is a big comment. All right, guys, I've uploaded the Usman Khawaja video. You should all go have a look at that. I've got one of my videos has gone 450,000 plus views. It's a bit short, but it's also very interesting. So all you guys, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to view, like, and share, subscribe, hit the notification button, go at Norm Koch for both Twitter and Instagram, Norman Koch on Facebook, and also obviously YouTube, but also LinkedIn. So thank you guys for joining. Make sure you subscribe. I think 95% of my viewers are unsubscribed, 5% subscribed. I'm getting good viewing. So let's turn that into more subscribers. Just hit a button, you're subscribed. You get all the notifications. of when things are on. So thank you again. Himanshu Ravella, Norman, can Nathan Lyon take rest in 2 tests and Swepson and Ash come in? Well, he may well come in, but Swepson may not come in. Maybe Agar, but it could happen. It could happen. We'll see. I don't think it will. I don't think Nathan Lyon will let go of his position under any circumstances for so-called rest. No, I don't think that will happen. But let's hope. I'll see through suggestions whether that's possible. All right, guys. You take care. We've gone 1:35. Let's just see if I can bring up that stat. Where is it? There. Analytics. Let's see if this is coming up. Oops. So what have we got here? This is the live preview. Let's see what's coming up. Australian. No, that's not it. Let's just see if this. Here we are. That's it there. That's post day 3. Not too bad. All right, guys. We'll talk soon again. Australia will win 2-0 win this with it. It's possible. No, it's not possible. Australia win the test. Well, it's going to take a fair bit to do. There's not enough time for them to win the test. They might get past this. Pakistan won't collapse. They'll be in the time. All right, guys. So we've got that there. I can see. So I can actually do this now. Actually, you can go off, go on. Just making sure that there's certain things switched on with these videos that I'm add to a playing list. So we'll look here, that there. That's 70. Yes. All right. Australia 2-0 is not possible. Well, 3-0 is possible at this stage, but I think 1-0 will be still the way that it'll go into the third match of the Hall. Pakistan lose only 4 tests in Karachi throughout history. Well, that says a lot for them winning that one, doesn't it? Well, this damn timeout business. So we'll just wait and see what happens with this match here between Australia and Pakistan. Well, India Sri Lanka's over, as we know. India won by an innings and 222 runs, which is quite embarrassing for Sri Lanka, having got out for 174 and 178. Awful Sri Lankan performance, really. Very, very ordinary. Nice particularly, I got a 50 at the end there, but should have got that in the first innings. Maybe should have had more ball partners and batted higher in order to get a century. So it looks like Pakistan will win Karachi. This game will probably be a draw. That means Pakistan could go 1-0 up. This is West Twister's timing out. All right, guys. We'll talk soon again. Again, making sure you view, like, and share the post. Subscribe away. Get involved. Share comments. Get viewers. Enjoy the time with this great sport that we love, cricket, whether you're in Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. The rest quest timed out. All right. I'll talk to you soon. I'm waiting for this damn video to upload properly. Receptions are very bad, aren't they? So, but India deserved their victory. Australia did make a fist of this match, which I'm pretty happy with. Pity about Khawaja getting 97. Obviously, Warner was on 68. In fact, now I was on 69, and Smith's got 20 on, just quietly percolating on. Australia win the 2023 World Cup. Well, they got the 2022 World Cup still to come before Himanshu Ravella. Wait and see what happens there. And that's limited. And what are they going to say? Request to review. Submit request. I always doubt the content. I don't know why. Request submitted. Okay. And certainly is a. Let's go there. Okay. All right, guys. We'll talk soon again. One already said many years ago that Jadeja is a rock star in the making. Well, he's not a rock star in the making. He actually is a rock star. 175 not out, 5-wicket haul. Got wickets in the last innings as well. He's a tremendous player. Tremendous player. Really, really commendable. All right, guys. We'll talk again tomorrow. Pre the match, hopefully, but definitely post.